Kansas is improving. The Jayhawks are one of the biggest rebuilding projects in all of college football. But Lance Leipold, he's getting them there. He's improving the Jayhawks. And the ultimate goal for 2022 is just to see more improvement. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys. Ready to break down, predict, analyze Kansas' schedule and record for this upcoming college football season. Again, guys, a season for Kansas where no one's expecting anything big. Right? No one's expecting a bowl game. No one's expecting a title. They're just expecting improvement. You take a look at the numbers, guys. Kansas showed that towards the end of last year. The Jayhawks, yes, went just 2-10, but the highlight of their year was beating Texas at Texas. Beating Texas 57-56 in overtime. The last three games, guys, included a win over Texas, a 3-point loss at TCU, and just a 6-point loss to West Virginia. They were competitive. They were close and easily could have been a possible 4-win team when it was all said and done. You look at those numbers, guys, brought to you by College Football Encyclopedia. Kansas returns 82% of their production from last year. That is 7th in the country. Now, again, that might not translate to much, considering last year Kansas was 113th nationally offensively and 126th nationally defensively. Got a lot of improvement to go despite all the returning talent, but that's huge for Lance Leipold, who's still trying to establish a solid foundation and a culture in Lawrence. 9 starters are back on offense, guys. Jalen Daniels returns as a veteran quarterback for Kansas, and Devin Neal returns at running back. And we know Lance Leipold wants to run the ball. This offense, guys, should improve after only averaging 20.8 points per game last year. The defense, guys, that's the area where they have to improve the most. 6 starters are back, but this is still a team that gave up over 42 points per game and 250 rushing yards per game. Kansas has to improve on that side of the ball if they want to start showing a little bit more improvement and maybe win multiple Big 12 conference games. Who knows? But to take a look at the schedule, guys, of course, it is tough. The non-conference isn't necessarily the most favorable in the world. It's not horrible. And then, of course, the Big 12 slate is brutal. We do think they open up, guys, with a Friday night victory over Tennessee Tech. Want to know, how about that? Hopefully Kansas, we've seen them prone to losing to FCS teams. They're struggling against them. Maybe the Jayhawks will actually take care of easy business of Tennessee Tech. So they beat Tennessee Tech. We do think that they lose their next 2 games to West Virginia and Houston. Again, last year they only fell to West Virginia 34-28, but now it is in Morgantown. The Mountaineers, of course, have added JT Daniels. He's going to give a major boost to Graham Harrell's offense. The defense is very underrated, I believe, in the Big 12. I just don't see them being able to go on the road and win this game. Then you go on the road to Houston. Not ideal to go on the road for that game. A Houston team that might win the AAC this year, might arguably be the best Group of 5 team in all of college football this year. Veteran quarterback in Clayton Tune. Very underrated defense under Dana Holgorsen, former Big 12 coach, of course, at West Virginia. I just don't think Kansas has enough to beat Houston there. But I do think they have enough to beat Duke. I do think they're going to win another non-conference game. Duke, guys, last year beat Kansas 52-33, but now the Jayhawks are getting them at home, right? That's key number 1. Key number 2 is the fact that Duke's dealing with a brand new head coach in Mike Elko, who has to fix what was the nation's worst defense last year. You thought the Kansas numbers were bad. Those weren't even the worst numbers. Duke's were worse. So you're playing the worst defense in the country from last year on your home turf. You have 15 returning starters, continuity at the coaching position. I just think Kansas is going to be able to win this game. And just like that, they've got a win over a Power 5 opponent, and they're 2-2 heading into conference play. That's not bad. That's not bad for Kansas. Then they get into conference play, guys, and that is where it could get bad, right? It could get pretty tough. We do think they lose to Iowa State. The Cyclones beat the Jayhawks 59-7 last year, and despite all of the losses that Iowa State will be dealing with, no Brock Purdy, no Charlie Kohler, no Breece Hall, guys like that, Iowa State still has a very stingy defense, and I still think they own the coaching edge with Matt Campbell. So Iowa State will win this game despite it being on the road, 2-3 for Kansas. They then stay at home, guys, to take on TCU, and this is a winnable game for the Jayhawks. Because last year at TCU, Kansas only fell 31-28. It's only a 3-point loss right after that Texas win. So maybe they were riding the high. Maybe we put too much stock into it. But you know what? I'm going to put a lot of stock into it. I'm selling the house. Kansas, I think, is going to beat TCU. I think Kansas beats TCU. If the Jayhawks defense can show up, especially in the secondary, because we know Sonny Dykes is going to want to air it out. If that secondary shows up, they will beat the Horned Frogs because TCU does not have a good defense. Yes, many people want to point to Joe Gillespie. Oh, he's running the 3.35. Yeah, it's going to be all right, right? But I think Kansas has enough to exploit that. I think they have enough push up front to establish the run, to control the clock, home field advantage, nearly beat TCU last year. To me, there is too many factors here that say Kansas might be able to win this game. Because let me tell you something, the Jayhawks are going to win at least one Big 12 conference game this year, and I think maybe their best shot at it is going to be the Horned Frogs. I think Lance Leipold gets it done. So just like that, guys, 2-2 to 2-3 to 3-3, the Jayhawks have 3 wins, and they've already improved from last year. 2-10 last year, already have 3 wins now. That's huge for Lance Leipold. Even if they lost out, they still have topped last year's win total. You look at the next couple of games, guys, they're brutal. Arguably the top 3 teams in the Big 12 that Kansas has to face consecutively. Sure, they get a bye week in between there, but consecutive games against the top 3 teams in the conference. Kansas will lose all of them. They lose to Oklahoma, they lose to Baylor, both of those on the road. They fell to the Sooners 35-23 last year. Dylan Gabriel, an improved defense under Brent Venables will be simply too much, especially with the game being in Norman. The road game at Baylor won that game 45-7 last year, and that Kansas offense might improve a little bit, but not enough to exploit this very, very good Baylor defense. They get the bye week before Oklahoma State, a team they lost to 55-3 last year. I think they put up more than 3 points this year because Oklahoma State defensively won't be as good as they were in 2021. But despite the week of rest, despite having the game at home, the Cowboys simply are too good across the board. Too big, too physical, too fast. They take down Kansas. So 3-3 is now 3-6. And again, what would you expect? Kansas just simply isn't there yet to start playing with the big boys of the conference. They then go on the road to take on Texas Tech. They lost to the Red Raiders 41-14 last year. Now it's on the road against what many believe to be a revamped Texas Tech team. One that's going to be great on offense under Joey McGuire. One whose defense is still a little shaky, but the key, guys, is that offense. Home field advantage and an offense that can exploit a Kansas defense that's still improving. Doesn't look like a recipe for victory if you're the Jayhawks. They fall to Texas Tech, and then they get Texas. They get Texas at home on senior night. So let's remember last year in Austin, no one gave the Jayhawks a fighting chance, and they beat Texas 57-56 in overtime. Now Texas comes to their turf. They come to the Jayhawks' turf. Can Kansas win 2 straight games over the Longhorns? No, they can't. Texas is hungry for revenge, guys. Typically, you're hungry for revenge against a big rival, an elite team. No, Texas is hungry for revenge over Kansas. No disrespect to the Jayhawks. But Texas will win this game, guys. It's been bulletin board material all offseason long. Everybody's been making fun of the Longhorns. They cannot afford another loss to the Jayhawks. Steve Sarkisian will not allow them to have another loss to the Jayhawks. And while I don't think it's necessarily a blowout by any means, Texas will win this game by double digits, by at least 10 points. They get their revenge over Kansas, guys, and the Jayhawks finish out their year with a loss to in-state rival Kansas State. They fell to the Wildcats 35-10 last year. The Wildcats will have one of the best rushing attacks within the conference with the dual-threat quarterback in Adrian Martinez and one of the best running backs in the country in Deuce Vaughn. That doesn't bode well for a Kansas defense that, again, allowed over 250 rushing yards per game last year. It's just not in the cards. So, again, you look at Kansas, guys, 3-9. Not a great record by any means, but if you're Kansas, you go, hey, we got a conference win, we had a non-conference victory over a Power 5 opponent, and we beat last year's win total. 2-10 last year to 3-9 last year. Again, we said at the beginning, can the Jayhawks see more improvement? Yes. Yes, they can. Yes, they will. Lance Leipold is building something at Kansas. It's going to take a lot of time. Jayhawk fans got to be patient, and I know you are. Enjoy basketball season. The reigning national champions, that's something to continue to look forward to too. But in a few years, you're going to start looking forward to football season. You absolutely will. So guys, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Make sure to sign up for those today, guys, and become a part of our GE Nation. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.